Hey there, listeners. I'm Tom.
And I'm James, and you're listening to World on a String.
Hi, James.
Oh my god. Hi, Tom.
It's episode 12.
Episode 12,
It
film.
feels like merely 2 days ago we were recording episode 11.
It does. It does.
Feels like 11 hours and 15 minutes ago that episode 11 released
Wow.
onto the internet.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I hope it's gone down a treat. Has Ashes retweeted us yet?
Not yet. I'm positive it's coming. I've got high hopes.
I mean, I checked all the stuff he tweets, so I don't think he ever retweets anything, but we could be the ones. Who knows?
Maybe we'll be the first.
Holy crap. How's the last 2 days been? You doing anything special?
I worked.
Yeah, you've been busy. Busy earning a living.
Yeah.
Not from
Earning
Audible.
money. I'm working a wedding tomorrow.
Oh, that's very
So
interesting.
That would be fun.
Holy crap.
They were actually in today,
Mm-hmm.
like doing a bit of prep and stuff.
Did they give you the lowdown?
It's going to be an alternative wedding.
Oh,
Don't know what that means. With lots of colour.
my God, I just got the biggest scare of my life. Oh, just saw.
Are you scared of alternative weddings?
I'm terrified of them. I just saw Jess's dad just walk outside the window, and I thought it was
Oh,
a
no.
ghost, and I nearly cried. Holy crap!
That'd be unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm off to Liverpool tomorrow, which means we have to record really, really early. And
Yeah,
then
we're having to do it early because I'm off with my girlfriend next week and you're off
with
as well.
my girlfriend this week, tomorrow.
So it's all a
Yeah,
little bit tight.
I feel like my views, especially on the album, aren't going to be as good because I didn't have as much time as I wanted to listen to it properly. But
Yeah.
I feel like we can have an interesting conversation about it anyway.
Hopefully.
Should we go into the album, do you think?
We might as well just crack on. I don't think there's a lot to talk about
No.
to fill up this section. Might be a little bit shorter this week, but that's not a problem.
It's nice.
So
It's
the album was one that I chose, and it's a little bit similar to Old Man Markley, which I chose earlier. This band is Larry and his Flask, and the album is By the Lamplight.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another one of those kind of, I guess, bluegrassy country albums.
Yeah,
which I'm a fan of.
Almost country rock, really.
Yeah.
I think because when we've talked about all the jazz albums we've listened to in the past now, I think when we've been comparing them, not comparing them directly to one another, but talking about similar
saying
things.
what we liked about one that we didn't in the other, or what one had that another hadn't. Yeah. Because I've been tentative to do the same genre twice, really, especially since we're still kind of under. This is only episode 12, but actually I've been enjoying the conversations I've been having about the jazz album, so I didn't feel as bad repeating, almost.
Yeah, I think they've been quite interesting. I've learnt a lot from your views on music through that as well, and your kind of opinions, which is nice, because we don't often chat about things like that. We never talked about stuff like that before, either.
Not really, no.
Which is pretty crazy. But yeah, so I listened to this album... Not all the time, like I was comparing it to Old Man Markley, but I was listening to
the similarities are there, and so it's difficult not to in a way.
Mm-hmm. So that's how I've been listening to it, just to give you a bit of background, because I think a lot of my notes are kind of comparative.
Yeah.
As well. Anyway, let's move to the first track.
Well, just while we're talking about comparative, which do you prefer?
This one, definitely.
This one?
Yeah.
Interesting. Because you quite liked Old Man Markley,
I did, and I quite like this album as well.
Interesting. I thought you wouldn't like this one as much.
No. I wish I got more time to listen to it. I think I'll definitely listen to it again within the coming week.
Feel free to continue listening.
Yeah, I definitely will do.
I guess we won't be recording again until the Wednesday after next, so...
Yeah, it's a long time. So I definitely will. I wish I'd listened to them earlier, because I think I would like them, like a lot.
I think that kind of, especially here in the UK, that kind of bluegrass and American country is one of those genres that people almost discount before they've listened to it.
Yeah.
Like at work, when we're putting on the music over the speakers, I never put my music on because it isn't really restaurant music. But people say, like, oh, what do you listen to? And I'll be like, well, I do quite like a little bit of bluegrass or country music. And they'll be like, oh, man, that's rubbish. Who listens to that? But, I think people don't actually listen to it.
No.
And kind of just dismiss it out of hand, which is a shame.
I think I have been guilty of that in the past, which I'm now sad about.
I don't really listen to jazz.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad we're honest.
It's a similar thing.
Anyway, let's go to
the first one.
Track by track.
The first one is Pandemonium.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a little bit of an a cappella start, which is quite nice. I like this one and Larry and Old Man Markley, really. They both are quite large groups.
Yeah.
Which means that when they do bits where it's all just voice, it sounds really good because they've got a lot of voices in there. A lot of different voices in there.
I think that's quite nice. That's definitely highlighted by this track in particular, because it all starts, it's just like a barbershop, isn't it? It's a barbershop group. And it's not just like, I don't think it was necessarily bad barbershop, it was quite good, because sometimes it can sound a bit cheap and tacky, and it's hard to get a barbershop feel with your own music because there are certain chords that they use and certain voicings that they use, but they did such a good job replicating it. I have to give them credit for that. So I really, really enjoyed the start of Pandemonium.
Very good. I'm glad.
Like a lot.
This one, Pandemonium, is one of the few songs on this album where I actually get what the lyrics are supposed to be about.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of it sounds very metaphorical or maybe just too personal, where you don't really know what he's saying, but just listening to him say it is pleasant enough.
Yeah.
But this one is one that I found I could understand. It's kind of just about the world being a bit crazy.
It's good. I think I like how it's replicated by the kind of, like you said, it's quite a large group, so all the textures and the instruments, it all, I felt like it all added to the feel of Pandemonium, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Which I really liked. I did like listening to his voice as well, quite a lot. I think I got, much like you did with Gretchen Parlato, I think I got sick of Old Man Markley and their voice.
Yeah, Old Man Markley's voice is a little bit more stadium.
Yeah.
It's a bit smoother, whereas he's definitely a bit rougher, a bit more emotional.
Yeah, which I like. Yeah, I've definitely, rough voice is what I've written down, which I do like. It kind of makes it more real in some ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see where you're coming from.
But yeah,
I find Larry and his Flask to be angrier than Old Man Markley as well. Yeah. A lot of the songs on this album and on their EP that I've got are quite depressing and negative.
Yeah.
Whereas with Old Man Markley, they're quite positive. They don't necessarily portray a good scenario, but it's always a positive swing on it. Whereas with Larry and his Flask, it's a lot angrier.
Are they both American groups?
Yeah.
That's weird. I'd expect
Larry is from... Larry and his Flask is from Oregon, and I'm not sure where Old Man Markley are from.
I would have expected the more depressive one to be from the UK. Yeah, but I think you're right. A great thought just came into my head.
Los Angeles, California.
Angeles, right.
For Old Man Markley.
Well, I guess that kind of fits. I guess people in LA are like, yeah, it's the world. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So just another general point about the album. So the more kind of slow, the less hectic, for lack of a better word, songs in Guts and Teeth, I preferred.
Mm-hmm.
So like the song Guts and Teeth and
the ones that are just a bit more
slow.
Relaxed.
Yeah, I preferred in that album, but in this one, I got annoyed with them. I didn't like them as much. Like,
interesting.
I still liked them, but not as much compared to the rest. I liked the kind of the hectic, the offbeat feel with all the instruments, if that makes sense.
Interesting, because I've got most of the hectic ones kind of in the top middle.
Yeah. Are you?
So I don't know. I think it depends which because there's almost two styles of slow. There's like dirgy slow, and then there's like, I don't know, relaxed slow.
Yeah.
And the relaxed slow I quite like, but the dirgy slow can be annoying.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think you're right. I think you're very much right. Anyway, back on track.
Yeah, out of print.
Out of print. Yeah.
I do not have a clue what this one's talking about.
No.
I mean, for a lot of them, typically when it's lyrical, I like to assess kind of what the subject matter of the song is and how the music reflects or contrasts with that. Yeah. But with this one, I there's just too many where I don't know what they're talking about that I struggle to do that. But I like this one.
Yeah,
I think it's quite simple, but it's just pleasant.
Mm-hmm. The whole album keeps this. The whole album keeps keeps like this offbeat bounce rhythm type going. You know, the cha rhythm, which is really nice. And I'll come back more to this point later on, but especially in this one, it felt very inspired from. I'm reluctant to bring this up because I know I'm going to get a little bit slated by you. It feels very much inspired by Django Reinhardt and some of the kind of gypsy jazz feeling.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Just because of the offbeat, but he's like this amazing jazz guitarist.
I could possibly see where you're coming from. I mean, I don't know them particularly, but I think that, you know, jazz and blues kind of go hand in hand, and blues and country
are
very
right
much go back hand in hand. So I'm sure that there will be a lot of shared motifs. So I wouldn't say that country and jazz have loads in common, but they definitely have that shared link of that blues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's weird. There's a guitar solo in Out of Print, which is very much Django Reinhardt-esque, who uses a lot of like chromatic runs and such. I know it's not like particular to him. I know that not only Django uses chromatic runs, but the whole feel just kind of does feel like that, which for me is definitely a positive, and I really, really like it.
Very good.
The only problem I have...
wine. Oh, yeah.
The only problem I have with Out of Print is it has this middle, more kind of like a smooth bit, which I don't like. I think it comes back to what I was saying before about me not liking the slower ones in here because they're not as hectic. It hasn't got that offbeat bounce with the banjo and everything going on, and the kind of Mumford & Sons vibe, I guess. I'm not...
Yeah.
I like that. I don't like the more smooth bits. I wish they'd stuck to their guns and done songs like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like that.
Should we go on to the barley wine bump?
Barley wine bump. This one's my favourite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like... I don't even really know why. I just find this one super catchy.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the vocal effect that's on his voice throughout it. It's kind of that, almost like it's coming through a phone. And then, hello? Okay, and then there's a bit at the end where he's screaming. It's like he's shouting and screaming something.
Yeah.
And typically I really hate that, but I feel like it works in this one. I think that the reason that it works is he's screaming, but the focus is on the instrumental at that point. Whereas a lot of the times when you've got screaming, like to an extent, like in Moose Blood, but that wasn't really screaming. It was just raw. But the lyrics are still the focus, and I don't like listening to it. But with this, it was kind of mixed in, and it wasn't particularly loud, and it blended in quite well. And I thought it just helped in the way that the raw voice in Moose Blood is supposed to help with the emotion, but I feel like it detracts because you have to listen to it almost. With this, you get the emotion through from the screaming, but without it actually detracting from the song, because it's quieter and it's not as important and not as in your face.
Absolutely amazing observation. I really like that. I never thought of that before. No, genuinely, wow. I love it. Yeah, I think you're right. Man, I love that.
But yeah, I do really like this song. I just find it really memorable, and I find myself humming it a lot.
That's weird. Holy crap! Because this one's one of the more slower ones, I think.
Yeah, I think this one has a good blend. Like the verses are quite slow. When it's like,
but then they've got the
voice on the telephone.
Yeah.
But then when it's the chorus, it's like, 'cause until the next time, and it keeps going, and it's like,
yeah.
So I like that one. Yeah, it's got a nice blend in it. Wow. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not up there. It's kind of low middle for me, I think, in my rankings. But I think it is because it is one of the slower ones. I like the intermission of like that offbeat rhythm, like the more country rhythm, which I like. But I don't know. It feels a lot less cluttered, and I'm not sure whether I like that for this sort of album.
Right.
I'm not sure why I like it being. I must be the guy's voice.
I do see where you're coming from. Yeah, like the pandemonium of it, the way that it all mixes together and feels very energetic and populated. I think that is quite an integral part of why I like this as a genre. And I think if I listen to the kind of country music that's a guy sitting on the back of a tractor strumming his guitar, I wouldn't be as into it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I feel like that's almost in a way, I don't really know the genres that well, but in my head, that's kind of the difference between country and bluegrass.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's correct. I might just be completely wrong.
No,
I have no basis for that. But
yeah, I think you're right. I think this is definitely more bluegrass country, but it's nice.
Yeah. What did you think of the Battle for Clear Sight?
Yeah, this one's up there. This one's top 3. I really like this. This one's more like it felt more like a traditional song, I think. With more of a kind of melody and accompaniment. I know they're all melody and accompaniment, but this was more of a standard, what you'd expect from songs.
Yes.
And what I especially like about this, and I think it's only just hit me about the Clear Sight. Maybe I'm just completely misinterpreting it, but the backings are just they're like the fast backings are like the offbeat backings, but then the melody itself and what is sung is actually quite slow and lyrical over the top, which I feel like that could be symbolic of a clear sight in the battle for it, the battle between the fast and the slow.
Maybe.
If that makes sense. But I really like this one. Really.
This is another one where I don't have a clue what the subject matter is. I mean, I was reading all the lyrics while I was listening, and just couldn't get anything out of it. It does feel very metaphorical and almost biblical in a way, and I don't know why I get that vibe, but a lot of them feel like they're retelling fables and stories.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't connect any of them to any stories that I know.
Maybe they're all like personal stories from the band that are being told in like a fable type way.
There's 5 or 6 of them in the band, and then 5 or 6 past members as well. So it could very well be people's individual stories. There's a lot of them in there.
It's nice. It's definitely engaging though. Like it's not. You don't feel out of the loop if it is like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the lyrics are still, when you're listening to them, it's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's go along with it.
When they're finished, you're like, I don't have a clue what that meant.
Yeah.
In this one, they have a female singer come in. I think it was a female singer.
Yeah.
And I wish that they'd use the other singer a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Like on Old Man Markley album.
Yeah.
There's the 2. And there's a couple of duets, and she's got a couple of songs that are just her.
Yeah.
Whereas I think this is the only time where any other singer that's not him really gets anything that's not backing vocals.
Yeah.
I can see in a typical band that is the way it is, but it's something that I really like about Old Man Markley.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of wish that they'd utilise it a bit more.
Inclusivity of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Equal opportunity.
Log, Hearth, and Ash. What do you think? Can I predict where this is going to be for you? I feel like this one's going to be near the bottom. Is it?
Is it number 8?
Oh
so
my
it's towards the bottom.
Yeah.
I'm not
I'm
as
surprised.
keen on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
The thing is, even like number 12, I've got as Muffled Thrums, and that's because I literally couldn't remember it going into the album, and I've listened to this album a boatload of times. I find it very bland. But my number 11 is Gone From You, and even that one I do like and I enjoy, and I've put it on specifically in the past.
Yeah.
Like, I do like this album a lot, so even the low down ones, I don't dislike them. But yeah, with Lockhart and Ash, I think it's a bit too dirgy for me. A bit too much like a slow march.
Yeah.
I like bits in it. I like the intro to it. It's got quite a slow instrumental intro before the lyrics start.
Yeah. It's quite sinister, the intro I've got here.
Yeah, I think this is quite a sinister song. It's about his life being really crappy and awful, as far as I could tell.
This one's about the same for me, kind of middle ground, 7. It's I don't know why I've got this written here. It's very gypsy jazz-esque, which is what I was going to come back to, but I can't remember it being so I guess I'll just leave that.
I think that this is actually one where the composition of the album and the position of tracks has been thought out and helps, because this one is very tonally different to the 3 or 4 we've had before.
Yeah.
And it stops that style getting stale. Because then you get this one, and you get a couple, and you get Gone From You as well, which is a little bit similar.
Yeah.
But then you've got Home of the Slave, which is back to the exciting kind of going, and it stops it becoming too repetitive. And it alternates and it switches, and I do think that works really well.
Yeah. Should we move on to Gone From You then? Yeah. So this one was just guitar and voices, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got that this one pretty much feels like acoustic pop.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Slowed down. It doesn't feel like it's country or even particularly bluegrass.
No. I did like it though.
I don't particularly like it.
This was your 11, wasn't it?
It is my 11.
Yeah.
I mean, I still enjoy it, obviously, but just compared to the others.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's all I've got to say on it.
I've written that I like the background vocals a lot in this one.
They've got a lot of the, especially these country albums. I can't remember it so much with Moose Blood, but the backing vocals are particularly strong. I
can't even remember if Moose Blood had any backing
vocals.
I don't think they did. It had a couple of times where it was multiple vocal tracks.
Yeah, but
only once or twice.
But I think with this kind of genre, with Old Man Markley, Larry and his Flask, and I guess Mumford and Sons, this whole kind of new folk rock fusion that's coming about, I think that the use of backing vocals and the fact that almost everyone in the band effectively sings is so nice. It's fresh. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I really like it. It gives you that group feel. It feels like a jam sesh.
Yeah. Which I prefer over the groups like Take That, I suppose, who do have backing vocals, but it doesn't feel...
It feels very rehearsed.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's homely either, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of homely, let's go to the Home of the Slave.
This one, I think, is about the polarization of America.
Yeah.
Think lines like the reds on the right, blues on the left. It's not even a particularly thinly veiled political reference, and then it doesn't even really matter what they're saying at all. And then there's a bit about he says this, she says that, but she'd rather hit him with a baseball bat. It's all like nobody cares about what they're arguing. You just take a stance to be different from what their stance is.
Yeah.
And I think it's about the way that political discourse it's just everything, especially in America at the moment, and even over here as well. Everything's just becoming so polar, and it doesn't feel like, you're either really far left or you're really far right, and there's no in between.
Yeah. I understand that. Yeah, that's really good.
And I think that's what this one's about. But musically, I really like this one. It's nice and fast-paced again. back to how it was before.
Yeah. I think I prefer this more because we've just gone through a few slower ones. And now we're back at the fast-paced ones. And it's a blues, so I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Some Cruel Twist of Fate.
This one's really depressing.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get what this was about?
Not at all.
This one's about his wife dying while pregnant.
Oh, man.
And him burying her.
Shit, that is some dark shit.
Yeah, this one's really bad. Like, in... Which was it? In Log, Hearth and Ash, he's got a line that's like, I burned my desire, later them still upon the pyre, which I assume is the same reference, like the same thing. That's the funeral of his wife.
Yeah.
So it's it's really an emotional one. Yeah.
Holy crap! I can't believe I missed all this when I'm not used to listening to lyrics.
And that's why this one, I think, it gets almost orchestral at sometimes. You've got brass in there at points. It just feels a lot bigger and a lot richer.
I guess the brass makes sense, though.
This is my number 2.
Yeah.
And I mean, like musically, it is one of the slower ones, and it's one that you wouldn't be like bobbing around to. But I just think the way that it works emotionally for me is just why that's so high up for me. I think that it's just a really good little package of emotion.
I definitely would have ranked it higher if I actually paid attention to the lyrics. Because, I mean, it's high as it is. And I did really like this one. And I liked the brass in it. But the brass, I guess, makes sense now. Because if it's supposed to be like a funeral march, the trumpets will be playing it and stuff. And it's so slow. I like it. I do like this one a lot. And I don't know whether this makes me a better or worse person. I like it more now that I know the kind of...
No, definitely. I mean, I think the emotion behind it. I think that it's like music, judging music in a vacuum is meaningless.
Yeah.
Knowing the emotion behind it definitely should count towards your judging in a way.
Yeah.
I think music is a very emotional medium.
Yeah, it's hard to make not emotional music, I think, really.
Even like your atonal stuff, like your Schoenberg that you did at GCSE.
Yeah.
That's still emotional, and it came about from
the war,
frustration and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You're very correct. Justice and justification.
Yeah, I've got a vague idea of what this one might be about, but I also might be completely wrong. I'm just projecting my own
go for it.
feelings onto it.
I like
this one. I feel is about it's a negative view of the pro-military culture in the US, and the way that it's like can do no wrong in a way.
Yeah.
It's got lines like "feel the duty but not the shame, fighting a foe but not name." Just the dehumanization of the enemy, and the way that the soldiers, obviously individual soldiers do obviously feel a lot of shame sometimes, and that's why you get PTSD and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the military as a whole isn't ever displayed or shown as feeling any shame. But the duty is always very patriotic.
Yeah.
And especially the lines, being at fault but casting the blame, writing the laws and sharpening the blade.
Oh my God.
That one made me feel like I was right with my interpretation.
Yeah.
But this guy might love the military. I don't know. That might just be me projecting onto it because I'm not a massive fan.
It's hard to tell with country music, I guess.
It is. You almost always picture them as individuals as being quite right-wing.
Yeah, rednecks. Yeah.
For want of a better term.
Yeah.
So when you get a song like this, which, if that's correct, is quite a left-wing message, really.
Yeah, definitely.
You almost feel, I must be wrong.
Yeah.
Because my prejudices about these artists aren't being
Yeah, I think you're right. Wow. Man, I can't add anything to that.
I thought specifically in this one that the guitars were used really well beyond just strumming them and playing chords. There was a kind of, I don't know if it was two guitars or if it was a way of playing where it played a chord, but then also a note on top of that was quite slidey and kind of went wow,
Yeah.
like as they strummed it.
Yeah.
I really liked that one. I really liked that.
Man, holy crap. Yeah, you summed that up really nicely. Muffled thrums.
Nah.
It was your least favourite, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
Really low. All the ones down here are my bottom 3 now. These next 3.
All that we've seen is quite high up for me, but Tides is bottom 3.
Yeah. So muffled thrums, it's like upbeat and bouncy. I think you're right. I can't remember any of it now at all.
Yeah, I can't remember how it went, and I listened to it this morning.
Yeah, exactly. Oh well. All that we've seen.
This one's middle for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite bitter, I think.
Mhm. I just didn't like it.
But I find it quite catchy and memorable. So
really,
that's why it's quite high up. It's another one that I can sing along to.
Yeah, I don't think I could. Well, I guess if I listened to the album more, my rankings would change.
Yeah, like I'm very familiar with a lot of the songs of this album.
Yeah.
I've listened to this album a lot, so my ranking is different than it would be if this is my first time listening to it. Almost certainly, I think it's very unlikely that Battle for Clear Sight would be as high as it is.
Yeah. But yeah, all that we've seen is just down there. Did not like it.
Yeah.
At all. I think it was very
Tides.
Yeah.
Not a clue what it's about.
There was just too much. I know I like it hectic, but there's just too much going on, and it didn't appeal to me.
It did have a really great instrumental section.
Yeah.
Kind of middle.
I can't remember it at all.
First of all, it was like guitars, like one guitar doing a melody, and then another guitar doing a counter melody, and then they stopped, and it was brass doing like a melody and a counter melody, and then it all came together, and there was 5 or 6 melodies all kind of overlapping, but it still went really well. I enjoyed that, but other than that, I can't really remember much about the song.
Yeah. That's fair.
There weren't any fade outs on the whole album.
No.
There wasn't a single one.
I was surprised. I was really surprised.
I feel like it's a part of them being written as whole songs, and the fact that they're not a super well known band.
Mm-hmm.
Like their label is Extra Mile Recordings, which I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
They're not a big label. They're not a huge band, and I think that they almost, in a way, because they're not so big, get more creative control over their own music. So they write their song, record it, and release it the way that they want it to be. Whereas I feel a lot of fade outs probably come from the artist having a longer outro or something else on the end of the song that the producer is then like, actually, we'll just fade it out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe you're right.
Potentially.
Yeah. I feel like artists don't get enough control of their music sometimes. Especially pop. You're right. Pop, I think
pop is very much always a creation of the producer rather than the artist.
Yeah.
The artist is just the performer.
I think it's a mixture. It's a creation of like the background team, like the producer and mixers and stuff. And then the audience. The audience that because if I literally don't know any pop stars at the moment. If Ariana Grande changes her style of music drastically, she'd get branded like a sellout. She'd say, "Oh, we want the old Ariana." I don't know if
that's actually the best example, because she started as a Disney princess, and her music now very much isn't Disney.
Quite sexual.
I can understand the point that you're making.
Yeah. Okay, maybe I chose a bad one. I was going to use Taylor Swift, but I was like, well, she changed from country to... Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe my point is completely invalid. Yeah. Should we go through our rankings? Because I'm interested to see where we've ranked stuff.
Yeah. So I'll go first. I've got Barley Wine Bump first.
Yeah.
Some Cruel Twist of Fate, The Battle for Clear Sight, Out of Print, Home of the Slave, Pandemonium, All That We've Seen, Log, Hearth and Ash, Justice and Justification, Tides, Gone From You, and Muffled Thrums.
Oh my god, we're unbelievably similar. Like, I don't think we've got any, except maybe one, in the same place. I was struggling to find where all mine were, but they're all in very similar locations, which is quite good. So my number one was Home of the Slave, then Out for Print, Battle for Clear Sight at 3.
Oh, we've got that the same.
Have we? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Pandemonium at 4. Some Cruel Twist of Fate, Gone From You. Yeah. That one sticks out as a big kind of like, we're quite dissimilar on that. Log Hearth and Ash, Barley Wine Bump, Justice and
Justification. Quite different as well.
Yeah, because that's your number one, isn't it?
Justification we've got at the same place.
And then it's All That We've Seen, Tides, and Muffled Thrums.
Yeah, those are pretty similar.
Like, they're in similar locations. I wonder if I did listen to it more, and I kept ranking it like after each listen, how much it would change.
That's interesting, actually. That's an interesting thought.
Now that I know yours as well, maybe. Who knows?
Shall we move on to La La Land?
Let's move on to La La Land. So, if people missed the cultural phenomenon that was La La Land, it is the film that I've chosen for this week. It was released 2016. It featured Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. And it had a little bit of a cameo. Well, not a cameo, like a part for John Legend.
A little part, yeah.
For John Legend, which is quite good. And it's all about a jazz musician, a failing jazz musician, and it's a romance story that's also a musical. What did you think? Oh no. Please.
I didn't love it, James.
What? How?
I thought it was really, 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 really bland. I didn't find any of the music memorable.
Are you kidding?
I thought that the story, the plot of it was silly and quite weak. I don't understand how it was anywhere near the cultural phenomenon that it was.
I actually
Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone both acted perfectly well.
Yeah.
I didn't have any complaints with them, and actually the relationship dynamic between them was one of the most human and most realistic depictions of a relationship that I've seen in Hollywood. So it does get points for that. I thought that was done really, really well. But I just found it.
I'm in shock. This is my all-time favourite film. I just think it's so great. I cannot see
how.
I love it.
There isn't any standout moments in the whole film.
There's loads of standout moments. The whole film is a standout moment. I want to go back to your point about the music not being memorable. I'm pretty sure I could sing you, and I'm not. Because
I mean, you listened to it 8 times last week, so I think that's a little bit unfair. But I listened to it yesterday. I watched it yesterday for the first time ever, and then at work today, I usually find myself humming stuff. I only hummed one refrain from it, and that was, I can't remember it now.
If you say
City
Stars,
I'm trying to think about it.
I'm gonna be
no, the bit when they are dancing in the road.
Yes, that's my favourite tune.
That bit is good. That bit's good.
Thank you. Well, that's like on all the posters. That's like the main poster.
Yeah, I mean, we've played a medley from it at concert band at uni.
Yeah.
So I've even played the music, and none of it stood out to me.
Man, I just don't get how you can think the music's not like that. I guess
I can't remember a single line of lyric other than "City of Stars, Are You Shining Just for Me?" because it was sung like 1 billion times.
Yeah, I'm actually
I don't even
really
think
good.
that the story that it was telling benefited from it as being a musical.
Well,
I don't think that the actual music itself added anything.
My God, I think it did. I liked the music. I thought it was different.
I did really like the song "On the Road." That was like, we don't like each other, but really we do. I really did like that song.
That's a lovely night.
What other ones did I like? The Audition song.
Yeah. So what
I quite liked.
What about the kind of the music that was played? Because if you look at the album, for it, there's 2 albums.
Right.
Well, there's 3 if you include a Japanese one. But there's 2 albums. There's one which is all the main songs and some of the instrumentals, and then there's 2 that's all the background music. I'm going to be looking at the one that's got the instrumentals on. So there's moments in the jazz club where the jazz band's playing, and and they're talking, and it's like, how do you not like jazz? It's all about Sidney Bechet shooting someone and stuff like that.
He didn't convince me. I'm not going to lie to
you. Convince you about what?
Jazz.
Have I convinced you more than Ryan Gosling, than Sebastian?
I mean, you have convinced me more than he has. Just after just watching that film, I wouldn't listen to jazz. I have listened to jazz because of this podcast. So
I'm good. Take that as a win. No, I think it's. I guess I'm viewing it differently though. I'm like looking at Sebastian as a character, and I'm like, yes, I stand for all this.
But he was such an asshole.
I don't want jazz to change.
He was so unlikable.
How? How was he unlikable?
Because he was a massive prick.
How? What did he do that was a prick move?
Hogging his horn in the middle of the neighborhood. Just for her. He was just selfish. He was selfish the whole film. He was just utterly selfish. The only selfless thing he did was when he joined I guess, and it wasn't even super selfless. The only, I guess, empathetic thing he did was when he joined Messengers so that he could earn a paycheck because he thought that was what she wanted. But then she ended up being a massive bitch about that. I didn't like either of them as people. I have nothing against Ryan Gosling or Emma Stone.
No.
I don't love either of them, but I don't have anything against them. And they've both been in stuff where I've really enjoyed them. But both of their characters annoyed me. I wouldn't be friends with either of them.
What? I actually can't believe I'm hearing this. I'm in shock. I think they're amazing people as characters. I think they're amazing people anyway.
I think they were definitely both very real people.
Yeah.
I definitely think the performances given by both of them were very impressive. And I think the character writing was very good. And much better than you usually get. And I believed all the characters. I believed their motivations. And I believed why they were getting angry at each other, even though they were really dumb, stupid, idiot reasons. People are dumb and stupid. But I just hated them. I didn't care. I didn't care if he got his jazz club because I didn't like him.
I cared. I definitely
cared.
And
then when she went with her husband who had a kid, all I was thinking of was like, I bet this selfish prick is going to leave her husband and a kid just for this jazz club.
They didn't.
And I'm glad that she didn't. But it was still dumb.
I think you're right. A lot of people criticise the ending because they didn't get together, but I like it.
No, it's much better that they didn't get together. The whole purpose, the whole meaning, really, of the film is that life goes on, and you don't always get the one in a way.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's very, very happy with the bloke that she's with.
Yeah.
They've got that kid. They both seem to be enjoying themselves a lot.
Enjoying each other's company, yeah. Yeah. So, you've seen Whiplash,
I have seen Whiplash, and J.K. Simmons' role in this film was hilarious.
I thought
his little cameo.
There's a bit at the end in that scene where
he's like thumbs up and he starts clicking. It's so dumb.
It made me cringe so much. That is the one bit I do not like. I can't watch it.
What about the astral projection bit?
The planetarium,
and then they fly away into space.
Yeah. Well, okay. Do you like Grease?
Well, I was going to say a similar thing. I've got written down. Very similar thing happens in Grease.
Yeah.
But Grease is really, really camp. And so Grease gets away with it. This film wasn't camp. This film was played straight all the way through. And so when it happened, I was like, why? Why is this happening? And also, I didn't like the cinematography for a lot of it. I disagreed with a lot of the directing choices.
Who's the director? Did I just say the name?
I don't know. I don't know.
It wasn't Damien Chazelle. It was Damien Chazelle. Anyway, back to your original point about let's view it as a metaphor and move on with our lives and just enjoy the film.
Yeah.
I think that is more metaphorical as a scene, but I like it. I do like that scene, like the whole them drifting up and the stars swirling around them and stuff. I like it. I don't know why, but I do.
It's fair.
Yeah, but this is Damien Chazelle's second film. His first one was Whiplash.
Was it the same guy as Whiplash?
Yeah. So what do you?
So he is the director-writer is a jazz nerd as well.
Well, I don't think he is though.
I mean, he must be to have done Whiplash.
Yeah, but there's much more. I feel like there's much more to nerd out about in life. I mean, a lot of pretty much every jazz musician I've talked to or see on the internet does not like La La Land just because of the way it depicts jazz. I think they all get moody because...
I mean, what do you think of the music that The Messengers played?
I don't like it because it wasn't jazz. Like, I wouldn't like that anyway. It was just...
Because I just... Forget the movie, I just wanted their album. I want a Messengers album, please. That was the best bit of the whole film, was the Messengers gig.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's just function band music. It's just like the whole point of the band being there. It's not a jazz band. It's just function. Like the singer and the keys and the guitar and the drum and bass. That's all they need there for an actual band. The horn section and the bit that made it quote unquote jazz in inverted commas was just to make it like... It was unneeded. It would have sufficed without.
With you that it definitely wasn't jazz music, that's what they were playing.
Yeah. Which annoyed me because what's his name? I've forgotten his name.
Sebastian.
Keith, that's it. I was going to say Kevin. Keith's character in the jazz club was all like, oh, jazz is moving on, you need to move with the times. Acting like he was moving jazz on, when in reality he wasn't moving jazz on.
Do you not think that's true, though?
No, I'm very much one of the people that I do respect that jazz is moving on. I do respect that that there are these new forms of jazz like Snarky Puppy are doing, and it's more funk and electronic now. I do prefer what we've talked about many times, the traditional standards of the traditional music.
But as Keith said, all of those very popular jazz musicians, or a lot of them, changed the game and were very revolutionary. So...
Yeah, but it doesn't...
Shouldn't you be trying to be revolutionary instead of just copy them and copycat?
Yeah, but a lot of them... I mean, a lot of them...
issue with jazz. It sounds just very repetitive and samey. And I know that when you get into it and you're actually examining the songs, there's a lot of difference there and a lot of individuality.
Yeah.
But on a surface level, it does all sound the same.
Okay, so in response to that, not all the jazz, the ones that everyone knows, of course, were game changers because that's what they're known for. But a lot of the musicians, like the majority of the musicians of the time, were playing that style of music. And I think the jazz that I like it doesn't like dead stop, but the tunes and things I play peter off towards kind of the Coltrane era, and Coltrane is viewed as this saxophone player who blows everyone's mind. He kept reinventing jazz, and I kind of stop with that. But everything before that is just standards. It's just standard jazz. It's just people picking up a lead sheet or just playing a tune and playing a solo over it. There's nothing revolutionary about that, and no one really revolutionized it before Coltrane. So I don't feel like I have to move with the times and I have to revolutionize music, because I feel like I can just play the standards as they were meant to be played, if that makes sense.
I completely get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Apart from that very last bit there where you said the standards as they're meant to be played. Because I thought that the whole purpose of jazz was everybody putting their own spin on the surface.
Yeah.
Isn't that the whole thing?
But not enough to substitute it. What's the word I'm looking for? To be called a whole new genre or a whole revolutionizing jazz. Like, of course, everyone has individuality, but it's not enough to, like John Coltrane was doing with stuff like Giant Steps, or like Miles Davis was doing with Kind of Blue.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah,
I really don't get how you can watch any film 8 times a week. To be honest, you
can't
really
have been
actually watching it.
No,
I was. Just had it on while you were doing other stuff.
No, I was watching
8 times a week is obscene.
I love it. I mean, that is. I haven't watched it I mean, I watched it for this, but I haven't watched it since. Oh, I don't think I'll watch it that many times in a week. I really like it though. I think it's such a great story. But I think I am maybe biased because it is about jazz and I like jazz films. I think Sebastian is the person that I don't want to be. Yeah, but I wish I was.
God, you're pathetic.
I full well know. But a lot of views that Sebastian has are very, very, very similar to mine. Like that he just wants to sit around and play Thelonious Monk and play exactly what I mean, I don't want to play exactly what Charlie Parker played or anything, but he sits and he like transcribes solos like he was doing with the piece on the piano, and he wants music to be played like it was. He doesn't want to move with the times. And he's got all of this jazz memorabilia that I would probably keep. I mean, maybe not to the extent that Hoagie Carmichael sat on a stool and now he keeps it forever. Yeah, maybe not that much. But I guess all the posters and stuff.
I mean, that's another example of him being an asshole.
Yeah, okay, maybe that was a slight asshole.
I think they both were. I mean, I don't think it's possible to be an actress in LA without being a bit of an asshole.
Yeah. And it did annoy me that they both kind of made it.
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't have happened.
I don't mind that. I don't mind in fiction them being the chosen one and them being the one that makes it, because that's why you have a story.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't want to read a book about Ron Weasley. I want to read about Harry Potter. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like there's often a complaint in about narratives that, but why were they the one that has all the magic power? Why is Rey the one who's the most powerful Force user?
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't watch the film about the third most powerful Force user.
Yeah, I guess. But I feel like...
So I don't mind that they both made it, because...
But I feel like...
That's the plot.
Emma Stone, definitely, I suppose, in LA at that time, would have had much less of a chance making it. Because Sebastian...
Apart from the fact that she is an actress, James.
No, I know. But, like, think about it.
Has already made it.
No, well...
She's more successful than you are. You've not been in Spider-Man.
Yeah, I have. No, I was talking about a character, not Emma Stone. Like, Sebastian, he already has these contacts, like Keith and stuff. So if he ever did want to, it is feasible for him to get in the scene already. Whereas Emma Stone, she's just doing her one-woman shows. And she's like...
She's doing all the auditions. I mean, it was a bit silly that it came... That her big
one
break
audition
came through the one-woman show.
Yeah.
But... I mean, that is how you do it in acting, is you do all the auditions. That's how a lot of people do make it.
Man, I guess.
I feel like in a way that's almost more. I think what
no, I think definitely
the most was that it's. I mean, I'm not the most musical person in the world. It certainly seemed like the film was portraying Sebastian as a very prodigal pianist.
Yeah,
just really brilliant.
Yeah, he's not that great.
And it feels like somebody with the talent that they were making out he would have been able to find a better gig than playing Jingle Bells for J.K. Simmons.
Yeah. You're very much right there.
That was the bit that for me seems a little... If he is so brilliantly talented as you're pretending, I don't think it would have been as difficult.
Ultimately, looking at it objectively, without everyone thinking... like he's amazing when he makes it. He's a good enough pianist to not be doing Jingle Bells and stuff. Like he's a good jazz pianist, but equally he's not good enough to make it as big as he was in the film. Yeah. Like he's a good musician, no doubt, but he's not good enough to make it. Just like I'll never be amazing. Like I'll never be in LA, but I feel like I have the skill required to do pub gigs and gigs around an area.
Yeah.
And not be called crap and kicked out.
Piano was...
Yeah, it was all him,
Ryan
apparently.
Gosling.
All him.
It was all him.
Which
That's quite impressive.
Debate. I've heard it was all him, but I don't think it is, because Thelonious Monk is really hard to play.
I was specifically looking out for where they would cut and have somebody else playing. I didn't notice any obvious moments,
No.
but they could have hidden it.
Yeah, but apparently he played it all. I've been told by numerous people.
Well, I gave this film a 5 out of 10.
Whoa!
I really did think it was very bland.
10. 10 out of 10?
10. You gave it a 10.
Yeah, you can't... Ultimately, Thomas, it is my opinion.
It is. If the film had been... If instead of jazz, he'd been into rap. But other than that, it was exactly the same film.
So he's rapping Jingle Bells in a restaurant.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't like it as much.
Interesting. Because I didn't think, and I might be wrong, but I didn't think that the songs, the actual musical songs, were that jazzy.
Yeah, you're right. Because
I thought that the film was about jazz, but I didn't find the music to be heavily influenced by jazz.
I think the ultimate thing is it was trying to rake in an audience, remember? Like, it couldn't have Whiplash-style music, because Whiplash, although an amazing film, it didn't have a massive audience. I think a lot were put off about the fact that it was so, specific about a thing, if you know what I mean.
And I mean that drum solo at the end of Whiplash is super boring. So I'm glad that they didn't do that here with him just going off on some mad jazz piano. Yeah,
exactly.
Because I would have been bored.
Even the music in the background of the jazz club, that's not particularly jazzy. Like, it's not particularly jazz because people wouldn't have liked it. And it is trying to rake in an audience, which it did do. And I feel like the Broadway-esque songs and the kind of the more pop song. I mean, it did have elements of jazz in there. Like, it's not completely pop. It is still based around jazz, but the fact that it was more leaning towards pop helps with the audience. But it isn't jazz. So the people that listen to La La Land, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm so into jazz. It's so amazing." You're not into jazz. You're a twat.
Yeah.
Grow up. Whew. But yeah.
I did really like the classification of the kind of acts as seasons.
Yes.
I thought that worked really well.
Holy crap. I think that...
Should we finish up?
Let's finish up.
Have you got any closing thoughts on La La Land?
I feel like if it was a different genre of music and I didn't relate to Sebastian as much, I wouldn't enjoy it as much. But I always like a love story, and I always like a sad love story at the end. So I guess it appealed to me in more ways than one. So I do really like it. I feel like it's a film just made for me, just because, like, Sebastian is who I want to be in life, without the selling out, with John Legend.
Excuse me. Yeah. I mean, I can certainly... I wrote a few times, no wonder you like this film.
Yeah.
It's basically about you. Like, yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like a love story, James, because I've decided we had that musical. That was a really rubbish, bland musical.
Yeah.
So this week we're going to watch Les Mis.
Les Mis, the one with Natalie Dormer in.
The one with Russell Crowe and the one on Netflix.
Okay, so
I've forgotten to... Is she?
Yeah, I think she is.
I don't remember her being in it. Maybe.
I've forgotten to choose an album this week.
Pick one quickly.
So I am choosing one really quickly. Okay, I'm going to go for a bit of a different one. I think you're sick of jazz now. So it's an album that I've not heard. I've heard songs of, but I've not heard. It's called Hollies by the Hollies.
Hollies?
Hollies.
Is that Holly?
Hollies.
Hollies by the Hollies.
Yeah,
interesting.
It might be a best of, but I had to choose it real quick because I forgot to choose it.
That's okay. I've never heard of them, so that's quite exciting.
You definitely have, because their music was in Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway, that's my choice.
Well, there we go. So, Hollies by the Hollies and Les Miserables.
Les Miserables.
I guess there's nothing else to say except thanks for listening to World on a String. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook at WOAS Podcast, and also on iTunes.
World on a String is hosted by James Curgenven and Tom Joshi-Cale. You can find me on Twitter at James Curgenven.
And you can find me at Astelterra1. All music on the show is original music by James Curgenven.